Hello, welcome to this update. Let's see the severe weather for the U.S. and Canada. So first, the U.S. We have an enhanced risk now in parts of North and South Dakota, a slight risk and a marginal risk around it. And there's also a slight risk in parts of the Mid-Atlantic and parts of Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, northern West Virginia, and other areas. And there's also a marginal risk surrounding it from Missouri to New York, so even further like into Connecticut and some other areas, so be aware there. So the wind threat is just 15% there in the northern plains and 15% on the east coast on both slight risks there and 5% on the marginal risks. So be aware there. The tornado threat is 5% there in North Dakota and South Dakota, so be aware, and a 2% there. So be aware this afternoon and this evening, especially the 5% there. And hail is 30% hatched there in parts of North Dakota and South Dakota. So potentially 2-inch plus hail there, and a very high probability of large hail there. So please be careful. Also 15 and the 5% around it, and on the East Coast and Ohio Valley and parts of the Midwest, a 5% as well. So be careful there. And let's see. Severe thunderstorms are expected across parts of the Dakotas and from the Ohio Valley to the Mid-Atlantic coast. So in the Dakotas, have upgraded portions of the South Central North Dakota and North Central South Dakota to a category of enhanced risk for what should be a relative greater likelihood and concentration of severe storms late this afternoon through early mid-evening. So be careful there and stay safe. Let's see here what the HER shows. This is the 15Z HER. It shows that system there in Montana and in Canada, and then it continues, and in the tail end of that front you can see some very strong severe storms firing in North Dakota this afternoon and this evening, even northern South Dakota, but it mainly shows in southern North Dakota there. Central southern North Dakota is the greatest threat there, so please be careful there. Then it keeps going, kind of dissipates, but then another line forms, like by tomorrow morning there's another line of showers and storms, might move into Minnesota later, so be careful there. And there on the east it shows some isolated and scattered severe storms, but nothing crazy. More in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Ohio, some in West Virginia, Illinois, but nothing crazy there. Let's see, but please be careful that there in North Dakota and South Dakota. And it also shows some storms in Florida, some afternoon storms there, in Louisiana, more rain in Texas, a storm or two there today, and Arizona, New Mexico, some showers and storms. So let's see here. And this is another look to the HER. This is the 12Z HER from today. As you can see, the system there in Montana and Canada. Then it keeps spinning there, shows more rain through Montana and other areas there, and then those severe storms start firing North Dakota. Shows some very robust severe storms, so it shows like high potential for hail, strong winds, and maybe even a tornado or two. So please be careful there. Those storms might be really severe there this afternoon into this evening. It shows some monsoon storms in Arizona, New Mexico too, but nothing crazy, and more there through Montana, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and other areas. So let's see. Shows in Florida the storms this afternoon, and let's see on the east it shows some storms this afternoon and evening from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, parts of Kentucky and Ohio, even in Missouri and southern Illinois and some other areas there. Some storms in Michigan as well, and even southern Ontario there and other areas. So be aware. And let's see. some dynamics. This is like the significant tornado parameter. It shows like, let's see, the past run. It showed like by 23Z this afternoon, shows some higher parameters in South Dakota there. So as you can see, but the HER shows most storms in North Dakota, but it's showing some higher parameters in South Dakota. But later, like by 1Z Thursday, you'll be like mid to late evening, like 1Z Thursday, things like mid evening. This evening it shows like a little bit higher tornado parameters between North and South Dakota there. So there are some ingredients present there, and you should be aware there. Be careful, and then they diminish later by nighttime. So let's see here. The mixed layer cape, it shows some cape on the east there, but nothing crazy, but it shows more cape for North and South Dakota there. So there's definitely some energy. For those storms later, it diminishes a little bit as we get later into the night. But earlier this afternoon, when the storms start, it shows more cape there. There's a mixed layer, and there's the most unstable cape. It also shows a lot, South Dakota and North Dakota. And let's see the surface base cape there. On the surface, it shows a lot too, especially North and South Dakota there. So be aware those areas. Some parts of Pennsylvania and some other areas too, but nothing crazy. So let's see here. What else? So there's this here. Let's see. Here, there's the winds. There's that trough there in Montana, the one that's causing the storms and everything. So wait here, and then it shows here like Thursday. Today's Wednesday. The strongest winds are there in Montana, but shows by Thursday a stronger jet there. But in terms of wind shear for tornadoes, there are some ingredients there, like I showed you the significant tornado parameter, but there's not crazy amounts of wind aloft today. So, but be aware there. There's that 5%, so be careful. Let's see. But like when we get to next year, like to tornado season, I'll find some better wind maps, because that map there is definitely not what other meteorologists use. So let's see here, some rainfall and snow and some other things. So this map for today shows some severe storms there, the regular thunderstorms, and some mixed precipitation in the mountains on the west. Tomorrow, the flash flooding, the storms, and more rain. Day 3, just some more rain. So let's see. Excessive rainfall is a marginal today, North Dakota, Minnesota, and South Dakota. Let's see, into New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado, a marginal, and a marginal from Missouri to New Jersey. Tomorrow is a slight there, parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Nebraska, and Missouri, and a marginal in Texas, Louisiana, and a marginal in the east, and the marginal from Texas to Minnesota. Be aware, Day 3 is a marginal from New Mexico to New York, and Texas, Louisiana again. Day 4 is a marginal in Texas, Louisiana, New Mexico, Texas, and Arizona, and a marginal from Tennessee to southern Maine. Day 5 for Sunday actually, there's a marginal in Virginia, North Carolina, and parts of Tennessee and South Carolina, even northeastern Georgia. So be aware. Precipitation shows a lot today in some areas of the east, in Ohio, through Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Illinois, Indiana. Shows even more Louisiana and Texas, the storms in Florida, and in New Mexico, especially some in Arizona. Shows a lot in Montana, North Dakota, in parts of Canada, and South Dakota. Day 2 shows a lot there in Minnesota, through Wisconsin, parts of Canada, and even Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, especially southeastern Texas and Louisiana. be aware there. And Virginia shows a lot tomorrow as well. For Friday, shows a lot in the Gulf, near Louisiana and Texas, some more in the east and southern Canada, and some other areas in the Bahamas too, and Texas and New Mexico. For Sunday, shows more in Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and areas of the east. Let's see. Next Monday shows more Texas still, and parts of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida, in other areas. Day 6, next Tuesday, shows more across the southeast and the Gulf, and more in the northwest. And day 7, next Wednesday, some isolated on the west, and a lot on the south still. Day 1 through 7 shows a big hotspot in Texas, Louisiana, so be careful there with that Gulf moisture and some heavier downpours. There in Florida too shows more. Day 1 through 7 in Canada, more through Virginia, North Carolina, parts of Texas, New Mexico, especially Mexico there. So along those highlands of northern Mexico, it shows a lot, day 1 through 7. So let's see. So in terms of snowfall, it doesn't show anything here on this map, but we might have something on those mountains there. I'll show you in a second. So let's see this thing here. It also doesn't show. It shows a tiny hint there of minor impacts and snow there along some of those mountains in Montana there. So nothing crazy, but there might be. Like in snow amount, it doesn't show anything. In ice, nothing, but let's see. It shows more in blowing snow, a little bit, might be on those mountains there. So let's see. The heat risk is still major throughout the Midwest, parts of the East and the South. And let's see, some moderate on the Southwest, Thursday, some extreme and major in some central mid-south areas, and on the East, some moderate on the West. Shows even some extreme in Illinois, Kentucky, some areas there. Be careful. Friday, more major heat risk across Kentucky, Illinois, some areas of Tennessee and Indiana, some moderate there. And let's see, Saturday, more moderate heat risk on the west, on the southeast. Sunday, more moderate and major on the southeast and northwest. Monday, more on the southwest, north, and southeast, moderate heat risk. Tuesday, more minor heat risk across the south, major moderate in Florida and other parts of the south, and more moderate heat risk in the north and southwest by next Tuesday. So be aware there. The highest temperatures today shows 100 in parts of Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, 90s, even some in South Dakota there, in Virginia, Maryland, some 90s, even to 100 it shows there. So be careful, 100s on the southwest still. And for tomorrow, it shows more 100s on the southwest, more 90s there in California, more 90s, some higher 90s in West Virginia, in Ohio, in some other areas there, and still some 100s in Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas, in Tennessee. Let's see, and the minimum temperatures for tomorrow shows colder in those northwestern mountains there, and still hot in the south there. So let's see, day 3, maximum temperatures shows more 90s throughout the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, some areas there, except the Appalachians, but it might be a little bit warm. So 100s and 90s on the west, especially southwest, more 90s on the southeast. And let's see, day 4 shows more 90s on the southeast, more 90s and some higher 80s in the plains, 100s and 90s throughout the west again. Day 5 shows more 90s, 100s on the southwest and on the west, more 90s on the southeast. Day 6, Monday, so day 5 was Sunday, shows more 100s on the southwest, 90s on the north, 90s on the southeast. Day 7, next Tuesday, more 90s on the north there, 90s on the southeast, 100s on the southwest, even California Valley, some 90s. So be aware. 24-hour max wind gusts for today. This is not considering the severe storms, just wind by itself. It shows some very high winds, some areas of Wyoming, Montana, especially from that trough. So be careful there. Some gusty winds in those mountains, especially, but in some other areas as well. Those yellows are almost to 60 miles per hour, occasional gusts. So be aware. And let's see. The hazards currently show even some winter weather advisories in some of those mountains there. In Montana, high wind warnings there, wind advisories, be aware. Red flag warnings from Nebraska, Wyoming, South Dakota, flood watches in New Mexico, some air quality advisories parts of the southeast, heat warnings there, in the east and Midwest. And let's see, still tropical storm warnings in the ocean in Hawaii there. And let's see, and this is mainly it. So in Canada, it shows today for Wednesday those stronger storms in southern Manitoba and Saskatchewan. So it shows some moderate probability of strong to severe storms there, and then even some funnel clouds possible this afternoon, parts of Alberta and Saskatchewan. So let's see. The area C there, it shows some very high winds, gusts, some large hail, and some heavy rain. So be aware there. Let's see. And then for tonight, from tonight to tomorrow, it shows more severe storms, strong severe storms possible in parts of southern Manitoba, especially tomorrow, and some minor storms in other areas of Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Northwestern Territories shows nothing today, risk too low. Yukon, some minor storms possible in northern Yukon, and nothing there in British Columbia. Let's see, Ontario, some minor storms in the south there, so be aware, but nothing crazy. Quebec, is this today? No, that's Tuesday. So here, they still don't have anything in Quebec, but I'll show you in a second. So the hazards, there's very few hazards now, but they already have some. So let's see here. They might have some watches later, depending on how the storms go there. But now they have some air quality advisories in parts of Saskatchewan because of the fires. Alberta, some special weather statements. Heavy rain from strong winds expected today from that low pressure system there. Heavy rain will begin this morning, 30 to 40 millimeters expected. Local amounts of 50 millimeters possible by Thursday morning. Strong northwestern winds will develop in the afternoon, up to 70 km per hour is possible. Winds will be weakened later Wednesday night, so be careful there. In central western Ontario, there's some special quality statements because of the smoke. Some may cause some low visibility and health issues. Southernmost Ontario, they have the heat warning. A heat event continues today near 30 degrees Celsius, so be careful there. What else? Still the storm surge warnings there, and they have this wind warnings in northern Quebec still, so be careful. Some 90 km per hour gusts occasionally possible, so be aware. And let's see, so it shows the GFS shows the trough there with the rain, the storms and everything, and the snow, especially in the mountains of Alberta there. Some in Montana, but shows more in Alberta and British Columbia, the snow there in those mountains. And then this keeps going, more storms possible tomorrow, especially this evening, like in Saskatchewan and Alberta. More rain in the mountain, there's some areas of British Columbia there, and especially in Yukon, might be some snow in the mountains of Alaska. And then let's switch to the European. It also shows the snow there, and that the rain, the system continues east, and some other systems might affect the area later, by Saturday especially, another system there. Later might have even more stuff, but like September 4th, another big system there, and later more. In central Canada, shows let's see, shows the storms there. So this evening there'll be more there in the U.S. in the Dakotas, but it does show like later this evening some more rainstorms for Saskatchewan there, and maybe Manitoba, but mainly in Saskatchewan there, more showers and storms. Some might be stronger there, even severe, and some more rain for Alberta, parts of Saskatchewan. Then Thursday, tomorrow, those strong to severe storms will kind of transition into Manitoba and Minnesota, so there might be some more storms there tomorrow, going to Western Ontario eventually. So, and then be careful tomorrow, still Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Minnesota with the storms, and then this continues into Western Ontario later. Be careful there, and it goes into Hudson Bay and affects Quebec. And a little rain on Saturday behind it, and maybe some small systems later. So be aware there. In Eastern Canada, shows still that system in Quebec there. It keeps going. Let's see. And then tonight it shows more rain in Newfoundland, some areas there of Nova Scotia too. So let's see Thursday, kind of quiet with that high pressure in Quebec there. But still those storms in Ontario by Thursday and Friday, some stronger storms there. They move into Quebec by Saturday, that line of showers and storms, even to the northeastern US and into Atlantic Canada. So then that other cut-off low goes north into Quebec by Sunday, and then it goes north there and leaves some more rain. Might have some more rain later in some other systems. So be aware. This is mainly it. Let's see what the HER shows for parts of Canada. Shows the showers there in British Columbia and Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the storms there. And it shows maybe a storm or two in Saskatchewan. That's Manitoba, I think. So it shows a storm or two in Manitoba, but most of it will be in the U.S. there, the severe stuff. So, but it shows like this evening to tonight rain in Saskatchewan, in Alberta, and more there moving into Minnesota tomorrow and Ontario. So yes, be aware. And in Eastern Canada it shows nothing crazy today. A storm or two in Southern Ontario, maybe tomorrow, tonight even, but nothing crazy. Just the stuff in Western Ontario tomorrow, maybe a shower today there. So be aware, stay safe. Let's see some other stuff here. First, let's see some snow accumulations from the European. So in the next 3 days shows more in Alaska and Yukon. This mainly in the mountains, northern Alaska some, and Yukon, and it shows a little bit there in Montana and Alberta, British Columbia, the little snow there, some in northern British Columbia and Alaska there, because of those other systems. Even northern Nunavut in the next 3 days shows a little bit. And yeah, let's see the wind gusts. It shows, let's see, those very strong winds they mentioned in Alberta today and parts of Saskatchewan, but mainly there in Alberta, in Montana, into Wyoming, some very strong winds this afternoon, this evening, and then it continues tomorrow a little bit in parts of Montana and North Dakota, and then he goes into Ontario there, and to Quebec with some stronger winds by Saturday and Sunday. So be aware there. Let's see, the temperature is still hot in the south there. It shows, wait, let's see. Here, so let's see, it shows in southernmost Ontario, 30 degrees, 27, still hot. Let's see, tomorrow a little less, like 26 maximum, but today it'll still be 30 there. Some 25 in northern Ontario too. And then let's see, the next few days, no big changes. Hot in southern Alberta, Saskatchewan maybe, but nothing crazy. So this is it, stay safe.